This is how we're going to beat Kaido. Not with a punch, not with a kick, not even with a mighty swing of the will of D to the face. But with this, a funky lantern, in fact, hundreds of funky lanterns. And here's why one of the most mundane objects one can think of are going to take down the strongest creature in the world. Hello and welcome to the Grand Line Review, your source for everything One Piece. My name is Liam and I wish that I didn't need a double shot coffee to just function in the morning. But look, it's very much a first world problem compared to the fictional plight of Wano, where their citizens' wishes consist of things like, I want to not die this year, please. But dire and depressing as they are, these wishes are ultimately going to be the key to victory against Kaido. I say this a lot, but One Piece is not your standard shonen series, and in arcs like this, Oda places a lot of focus on the will of the people, having them stand up for themselves rather than just hiring some sort of rubber mercenary to take care of their mythical fish problem. Without the people backing him up, Luffy does not win in any of these arcs, and these wishes sent directly to the heavens by the civilians of Wano are going to allow our god boy to take care of business. And speaking of wishes, my doggo here wishes for a pat, and you have the power to make this come true, because for every person who presses the shiny red subscribe button as a result of this video, this here good boy will receive a corresponding pat. So subscribe generously and make his Fire Festival wish come true. That's not it though, because to celebrate this occasion, we're also going to be granting the wishes of you, the Grand Fleet. So I asked all of you what your Fire Festival wish was, and I shall be compiling them in this here wish basket. The first of which is, I want a lot of dollars, which is simple and honest, so sure, let's add a lot of dollars to the wish basket. But look, how are you doing today? I'm pretty damn hyped, thanks for asking. Because I have just realized that we are about to do something that we have not done in a shockingly long time. To some of you, that might be calling your parents. To others, that might be doing your taxes. And to a very few misguided souls, it might even be bathing. But to Luffy, what he hasn't done in a ridiculously long time is actually defeat the main arc villain. We have to go an awfully long way back to find our last example of what was previously a One Piece staple. Wano itself has been in publication for almost 4 years. Prior to that, Whole Cake Island was a mega arc, where we tasted fairly bittersweet defeat, along with a sign of mochi and of course Huiringu Keiki. And before that was Zou, where we did beat the villain, but it was done via elephant. And is anything truly done if an elephant had to do it for you? Yeah, you ponder that. The last time Luffy has actually beaten a main antagonist was Dressrosa in chapter 791. 700 being a number that was long time ago, because we are now well over 1,000 chapters, and as a result, for like a fifth of the series, Luffy has not beaten a primary arc antagonist. Which is weird because back in the old days, Luffy couldn't even go to the bathroom without incidentally taking a rubber dump on a main antagonist, and thus saving an entire group of people who now worship him as some sort of bathroom rubber lord. And perhaps why there's a very vocal group of online fans calling for Luffy to lose yet again to Kaido. Because Doflamingo was beaten in the manga in June 2015, so as a fan base, we've been more or less conditioned to losing for the last 7 years. Well, not necessarily losing, but not winning quite as hard. And we like hard wins, none of this soft win business. Which is why reading One Piece right here, right now is giving me this weird sense of nostalgia. Because this prospect isn't even something I've come close to feeling since mid-2015. Luffy is going to beat Kaido just like how Mozart beat Salieri, very classically. But first we have to grant another one of your Fire Festival wishes, which is more eggs. Which I find interesting because more eggs implies that you already have some eggs, and this is, I think, slightly greedy of you. Alas, I am but a mere wish granter, so let's add in an assortment of eggs. So why are lanterns important? I mean, lanterns in general are not, but specifically these lanterns. Well, this may have been something that we've forgotten due to it being a core factor that hasn't been used in 7 years, but big epic kingdom style One Piece arcs almost always hinge on the will of the people being invoked. Going back to Dressrosa, the only reason why Luffy had the opportunity to beat that Doflamingo was because of help from the people. At the most important moment possible of all characters, Gyat's emerged to be a hero and coordinated the forces of Dressrosa to stall for time, as well as everyone else who rebelled against Doflamingo by helping to push back the birdcage. Because even if it was possible, it's just not enough for Luffy to beat the bad guy for them. One Piece shows the changing mentality of the cohort of citizens, and it empowers them with the ability to stand up for themselves. Sometimes that can occur symbolically, like during the climax of Skypiea, where everyone just started praying. And through this gesture, they rejected Enel as a god and decided to put their faith elsewhere. And whatever that elsewhere was, it doesn't matter. It could have been Greek gods, it could have been sky pumpkins, and in fact, it could have even been Skypian cryptocurrency. Again, it doesn't matter. What matters is that for the first time since Enel commenced his dickery, they got to choose that faith for themselves, which was rewarded with a a very happy sun god kind of incidentally answering those prayers. On Fishman Island, the residents were given quite a literal choice with Luffy's famous line, "Friend or foe, you decide for yourself." And on Alabasta, the key moment was obviously when everyone finally did what Vivi's voice actor probably hopes never to say or hear again, which was to stop the fighting. I think it's very important to note that even with all of the deity connotations, Luffy is not a savior, because there is no saving people who don't want to be saved. Which is why Wano has been a bit of a shade darker than our usual Kingdom arcs, because these people have long since lost any hope of being saved. They are overwhelmingly resigned to their fate, whether that be starvation, thirst, being worked to death, or even just being killed on a whim for the entertainment of some sort of beast pirate bunglenut. There is but one exception to this, one night every year where the citizens are allowed to feel that teeny tiny ray of hope, and that just so happens to be tonight. The Fire Festival shows us that as much as everyone is resigned to their fate, deep down, they do still have hope for the future, which is embodied in these wonderful lanterns. These skyboats contain the raw and honest desires of Wano, all heavily concentrated in some sort of lampalicious glob, making their way up to the heavens as we speak. I'm not sure if the word glob is quite right, but then again, I don't know what the collective noun for a group of lamps is a light? I don't know, that sounds too much like getting off a train. And the Grand Fleet have spoken with your third festival wish being the company of a nice lady, a very smart, voluptuous lady. Yes, nice, smart, and voluptuous. The classic NSV combination. I'm sure we can accommodate that somehow. So into the basket she goes, I suppose. But let's talk about the significance of the Fire Festival, because it's more or less a thing that most of us have just accepted that is happening. But Oda has gone to some pretty painstakingly lengths to not only make this tie in, but form the emotional core of this arc. Firstly, whilst I've already mentioned that this is a festival for those living in the present and providing hope for the future, it's also heavily designed to mourn the past. And there's this one line Tenguyama said that has always stuck with me, which is that the purpose of their tall bonfires was so that that light can reach the heavens. This festival is a way of honoring and remembering the dead, which very notably includes your Odins, your Tokis, and very unfortunately recently, your Yasus. But this one night very effectively ties everything about Wano together, past, present, and future. We remember the sacrifices of those who came before us, we enjoy our time in the present, and finally we project our desires for the future. And again, those desires right now are doing exactly what Tenguyama said. Those lights are heading on up into the heavens, where unbeknownst to the various peoples, two godlike creatures are currently engaged in fierce punch battling that will decide the future of Wano. And I call Kaido a godlike creature because that's what the civilians refer to him as. In fact, here's a lovely bit of impending irony, but the Fire Festival is not a Wano original tradition. It was started by the Beast Pirates as a way of worshipping Kaido as a deity because he very allegedly brought peace to Wano. Oh, and also to distract the people whilst they all get their party on Onigashima and engage in their various debaucherous hobbies like wearing leather outfits, wasting food, and rap music, which has some very nice meta significance, not the rap music, but the whole idea of a festival honoring a false deity, resulting in the emergence of a more true deity capable of actually delivering the peace and salvation that this festival is allegedly designed to celebrate. But that's another factor that makes this moment so powerful, because it's a very classic actions of the villain coming back to seal their fate. Without the Fire Festival, the allies would not have had the chance to surprise attack a concentrated force of beast pirates. And without the festival, we also would not have these very important lanterns in play. So how are they going to result in one of the future most iconic moments of One Piece? Well, we'll find out after yet another one of your wishes, which is less clickbaity thumbnails from you. Ooh, sassy. Yeah, okay. As you'll notice, nothing has actually been added to the wish basket because nothing is exactly what you'll see if I stop making appealing thumbnails. You won't even notice them in your YouTube feed, so sure, we will grant you the gift of nothing. But now for the gift of something. These lanterns have a lot of potential, both symbolically and practically. I've mentioned in chapter reviews before that these simply representing the will of the Wano people could very easily provide either Luffy or Momonosuke with the drive they need to do each of their Wano saving actions, especially Momonosuke. He is a scared little 8-year-old lad who has probably soiled himself multiple times during this raid. So much so that certain citizens have probably been bombarded by squalls of what they thought was rain, but was in fact dragon urine. Because the one thing that always kicks Momonosuke up his child butt and into gear is his sense of duty. He is a Kozuki, and that in and of itself is a symbol of Wano. So what you have here is a bit of saucy symbol on symbol action. The symbolic lanterns fly on up to inspire the symbolic Kozuki Monkey Dragon, who, in a bit of a weird way, ends up fulfilling the original purpose of the Fire Festival, which was to celebrate a dragon deity who brought peace to Wano. But that's not quite it, because the lanterns can also serve a practical purpose, which would be another classic example of people standing up and helping themselves. Beyond their rather touching nature, each and every one of these lanterns is filled with a substance known as fire, and Momonosuke right now is suffering from the fire equivalent of erectile dysfunction. No matter how hard he tries, he just can't keep it up. The island of Onigashima, that is. Because both he and Kaido use flame clouds to fly and float. So what Momo desperately needs right now is a way of making those flame clouds that he seems incapable of producing naturally en masse. And wouldn't you know it, there's a bit of a handy mass of incoming fire flying directly towards him. And not only that, but as I did briefly mention before, these lanterns are actually called Sorobune, which means sky ships. Ships being things that are often good for transportation of goods and people, and perhaps Momo can use said ships for their intended purpose by combining their flames to form a sky ship surrounding Onigashima. Plus, and here is the best part, everyone in the flower capital right now has their eyes trained onto the sky, watching these lanterns fly up into the heavens. All of them are looking up just in time for the sky to be illuminated and potentially witness Kaido's defeat, which would be so absurdly perfect because it would be like their wishes are coming true. They write their desires onto the skyboats, send them boats up into the heavens, and bam, wish granted. And as for the Grand Fleet, apparently your ultimate wish is, I wish it ends. And well, wish granted, because this video is now over. There's another one here, and I look forward to seeing you there.